All praises.
Number love.
I bet. So we here, man. Brother from another. So this is the first take of this interview, but we probably gonna do one take because it's a one take rapper right here.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? None other than Brother Low, man.
What's good, man? What's good, bro?
Eli.
What's happening,
Eli
bro?
been cool, man. Many names.
And here with DJ Repent. What's
Many
happening?
vibes. What's up, brother? How you doing?
I can't complain, bro. The Lord's been merciful.
Man, ain't he, man?
Mm-hmm.
Word. So I know we've got a lot coming up, a lot going on, especially with the whole Ren movement, the whole Ren camp.
Yes, sir.
Got questions about that for you. And I know you just dropped the Feasting Season mixtape.
Yes, sir.
So I wanted to touch bases on that too. Projects on projects. You got some features in there that we got to talk about. You got some bars in there that we need to talk about as well.
A little razzle dazzle.
Yeah, man.
Yes,
So first things first, man. How you doing today?
bro, I can't complain, bro. Like I said, man, the Lord's been merciful. Another day above ground. Another day that the Lord gave me the breath of life. Got to count it a blessing. So can't complain at all, bro. Can't complain, bro.
Yeah, I heard you, man. It's funny, man. A lot of people take that for granted, so I'm glad you definitely realized that.
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of interesting bars you got on this mixtape. I'm gonna just jump right into it. This Feasting mixtape. When did you drop that Feasting Season?
I dropped that joint the week before, I believe, the Feast of Tabernacles. So I think early September, I don't know the exact date, but it was right before the feast officially popped off.
Okay. And just for anybody who doesn't understand or is not familiar with the Feast of Tabernacles or feast in general, just how would you describe or sum that up for them?
Yeah, so of course in the Bible, and that's what I follow as well as you, of course, my brother DJ Repent. In the Bible, the Lord gives us, specific days, just like, juxtaposed to like man holidays. You have Christmas, you got Easter, things of that nature. Well, in the Bible, God commands us to, pay homage and hold certain days to a high standard. And what it really points to is really, I wish more and more people actually understood how cold it is because it's really pointing towards his overall plan for salvation. So he has, like I said, the day starts off in the springtime with Passover. Then it's the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Then we have the Feast of Pentecost. Then towards the end of the year, we have the Day of Atonement, memorial blowing of the trumpets. And then it climaxes with the Feast of Tabernacles. So just specific days in which the Lord commands us to come together as servants of him and really just have a good time in his name. So that's really what it's all about.
And definitely, you encompassed all of that on this project, man. First of all, during Feast of Season when it dropped, the end of Feast of Season, it was a perfect way to end, the season with some new music from one of the hottest rappers right now in the world, and definitely in the truth. But it wasn't until recently, first of all, the record got a lot of playback value, and it wasn't until recently where I realized it's not just about feasting, it's about eating these beats, because you was feasting on these beats, man. I think I counted at least 15 different flows, which, you don't get too often. Usually people find a style and they stick with it. Right. But one thing I really appreciate is that you have, you're comfortable enough to display multiple areas. One of the particular flows that I really, I thought was sort of a trick bag was off the track. Which one was it? I think it was on Nothing But Love. That flow right there is crazy. But more importantly, that song has an incredible message and a pretty dope, a pretty dope meaning for anybody who listens to it. So tell me a little bit about how that song came about.
Yeah, Nothing But Love, like kind of like the title is just really a song based around love, and that's another thing. Really, the whole project is, of course, it's inspired by the Bible, and we know that in the Bible, pretty much the main tenet in the Bible is about love, right? The Lord talks about, all of the law, all the stuff that's in the book is really under the umbrella of loving God and loving each other, right? And then he gives us details specifically as to how to, properly love people. I mean, in the world nowadays, people kind of look at love as, as an emotion or, whatever the case. But, what I came to realize is that love, and even in your love life, you realize love is more of an action. So that was kind of the inspiration behind the track. Of course, I got my dog, big homie Yerp. He on the second verse.
Yerp.
Yeah, I had to toss him on there. He's smoking hot right now. He got his track Flea. So I wanted to toss him on there, and like I said, just really wanted to make a track based and rooted, in love. But also, I thought it was cool because even just the beat itself is kind of more of one of those rage kind of turn up beats. So I thought it would be cool to kind of toss a different spin on what you would typically hear on one of those type of beats. So yeah, that's pretty much what it's all about, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting in that song you mentioned. I remember hearing the word violence. You mentioned violence, and then but you spun it to like not violence. Like we're not talking about violence. We're not doing that. We're showing love. Another question, real quick, I have for you is, you say you show nothing but love. So what are some examples, some ways that you show love? And obviously not trying to get you to list any sort of charity that you do, anything like that, but just ways that people out there, listeners, can sort of identify in themselves how they can start showing more love or something along that line.
Really, bro, just really the fruits of the spirit, bro. Like really just being completely selfless, bro. Like I said, going back to those tenets of the Bible, it tells us, love God with all your heart, and then love your fellow human being. And nowhere in there it says love yourself, and that's the big thing that got the world so mixed up, is that everyone is fending for themselves. Everyone is people that do somebody dirty off the strength of, well, it's gonna make me okay. I'm gonna be in a better position, and that's completely contrary to what the book is talking about. So really, just like I said, operating in gentleness, forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? Being a little long suffering, showcasing some patience with people, right? Like that's kind of how I try to go about it. The Lord talks about being meek. He talks about being, the meek will inherit the earth, right? And if you know anything about meekness, it's really just another word. We're really just putting others ahead of you, even if people are tripping on you, or they're even, like it talks about you even praying for your enemies and looking out for them. So really, whatever it is that I need to do to make someone else's life comfortable, that's at least what I try to do. So that's when I talk about showcasing love, man, it's no glory to me, it's all glory to God, and I'd rather pass the glory on to somebody else before it hits me, because I'm trying to make somebody else's life a little better. So
word. Well, I got to do my DJ thing right now, man. I'm used to mixing beats, but I'm gonna mix these songs right now. You talked about showing love, you talked about loving yourself, and that made me think of your other song on this joint, Reap What You Sow.
Yes.
Right? So a good way to show love is to remember and recognize that it's going to come back to you one way or another, right? That song right there, for anyone who hasn't heard it, is one of those songs, man. It's one of those songs where it's going to hold the mirror up to you.
Yes,
and I imagine that was your experience writing it. Like, you had to really look at the things in your life that you've reaped and sowed. And I'm curious, we're at this point now, we're dropping tapes, we're bringing people on the journey, we're hosting events. What sort of things did you have to sow in your life to reap where we are right now? Man,
really, that's the thing, man. You can't get weary in well doing, and you gotta take the good with the bad. So, I'll be the first one to admit, like, even growing up, bro, like, I did things, and especially me, someone that supposedly was supposed to know God at a young age. I realized, that you're gonna get what's coming to you one way or the other. So I went through stages in my life in which I was focused on myself and focused on not even necessarily myself, because I never really count myself as a selfish person, but really not doing God's will. Like I said, it's so easy to want to be to self-preserve yourself, and you do things that just make yourself feel good, but you actually doing those things, it might be causing damage to someone else and really causing damage to yourself in the long run. So, that's just really what it boils down to, bro. I had to go through some tough stuff, had to go through some downs, really just being disappointed in myself to really come to that full understanding of what it's really about. And like I said, to me, what it's really about is stop putting so much energy into myself and try to look out for, the shorties and my fellow brother, my fellow sister. And then in turn, you doing that, God is able to provide for you. Like, you don't have to be the person that's always looking to, look out for yourself. If you're doing God's will, if you are looking after his creation, he peeps that, and then he will look out for you. So I start seeing that pattern more and more. I start seeing how I'm putting all this energy into trying to do my own thing, and how that really came to naught. You might have a little success here, a little success there, but even internally, you're not feeling no real, you're not feeling any real fulfillment. But then once I started putting that energy towards, like I said, other people, start sowing into other people, start focusing on other people, start focusing on the Lord, then I start, reaping good things. And really, when it comes down to reaping good things, it's really, for me, mentally more than anything physical, spiritually more than anything physical, having a peace of mind, knowing that, look, yesterday, man, I did this time. I looked after this dude, man. I was able to, put some food in his belly, whatever the case may be. And now I'm feeling good about myself, versus yesterday, man, I did somebody dirty. Yeah, you might have got a couple bucks in your pocket, but, overall, mentally, you got to live with that stuff. So, yeah, bro, the whole inspiration behind reap and sow is just understanding that, and people call it karma. It's not karma. It's not karma. It's God. You can believe him or not, but God is up there. He's peeping what's going on, and you're gonna get what you got coming to you. And it might not. What trick people is, since it doesn't happen immediately, or the punishment isn't swift, or the reward isn't swift, you think it's never gonna come. But once again, that's why you have to showcase some patience. You showcase some patience, you'll be able to start peeping. Oh man, dang, the Lord looked up. Man, I was down to my last couple of bucks, and then all of a sudden I got a check in the mail. Or man, NIPSCO or the electric company said it's gonna cut my joint off, but then all of a sudden it just didn't cut off. They said that somehow it got, it got lost in the or whatever the case. He works in mysterious ways, and understand that God is peeping, if you're doing the right thing or not, bro. So.
Man, that's well said, man. We're gonna come back to that because I got a follow-up question. Before I get to it though, I wanna also shout out Perez on that one, because God's not my, you is. Like that line just does it for me every time, man.
So that's little bro too, man. That's legit my blood little brother. Love him to death, man. Shout out Rezo. That's my
man. So I want to scale back just a little bit and just ask you. So let's start from the beginning. Where are you from?
I'm from Calumet City. I was born in Chicago, Illinois, but then my family moved to a south suburb of Chicago, which is about 20 minutes south of the actually Chicago land area, in a suburb called Calumet City, Illinois. So it's really, it's kind of an offshoot of Chicago. You're right there, you'll hop, skip, and jump away from it, but I was pretty much raised and grew up in Calumet City, Illinois.
What was that like for you?
Man, it was pretty lit, bro. I feel like I was able to get, multiple different experiences. Early on when we moved to Cal City, it was predominantly Gentile white people, you know what I'm saying? But then it was like a snap of the finger. If you know anything about Chicago, they knocked down the projects in Chicago, and then a lot of people that were in the city, they start flooding south to the south suburbs like Cal City or Dalton, South Holland, Harvey, things of that nature. So I was able to I remember probably like second grade, maybe first grade, that my classroom was full of white people, and then probably like that next year was like a handful of white people, and then of course it just progressively just became predominantly black and Mexican people that pretty much is populating Cal City. So with that being said, I was able to experience, how the white people live, and then also, how the Jakes, how black people get down. So I feel like it was able to kind of mold me in a way that, like I said, I was able to see kind of both sides of the coin, so to speak.
That must be an interesting time too, because I know that happened pretty much simultaneously all around the country. Atlanta, all the major cities, projects closed. We got dispersed into other neighborhoods and had to sort of relearn what it meant to be a citizen of a city, with the new setup and new system. So, but to your point, it does give you that robust look at life. So that's pretty cool,
yes,
man.
Sir.
So were you always into music, or when did that come about?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a fan of music since I was young. My mom, she sings. She's always been a singer in the choir. So music's always been, a part of my life. Like I said, at the earlier stages of my life, more so as just a fan of music, specifically hip hop, rap. But then probably around high school, probably like 14, 15, 16 years old, that's when I started kind of exploring putting some raps together myself. A bunch of me and my friends. My homeboy Lamar, he actually bought a microphone probably like 15, when I was 15, and we started recording our first little records in his closet. So around that time frame.
Okay. Now on this project, Feasting Season, there's a lot of references to football. Did you play football coming up?
Yeah, I play a lot of sports in general, bro.
Okay.
Like football, basketball, baseball was kind of my forte, so to speak. And just like I said, my mom, she was a singer and whatnot in the choir. My father, on the other hand, he was an athlete, and specifically he played football at a pretty high level. So he always jokes around. And say, like, before I was even able to hold my head up as a shorty, like I'm talking about like infant days, he had a football in my arm. I got pictures holding the football, and him trying to hold me up holding the football. So yeah, it's always been sports always been a major part of my life. I even went to college. I went off to college and studied sports communications, just to show you how much I love sports. So really, those were my two passions growing up: sports, and then the later passion or later love was the music, actually creating the music.
Yeah, no, that's hot, man. I think it was Accountability Partners, where you got some real interesting lines about the quarterbacking. Did you play quarterback or?
Yeah, I played a little.
So this is your real life in this music.
Yeah, I try to keep it. I try to keep it a beam, man. I try to keep, but I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna cap on that. Like when I was younger, like that's the thing. Rap is such a braggadocious, genre that you're gonna have some hyperbole, or you feel like that's what you have to do. You need to, stretch the truth. And when I was younger, that's what I thought rappers did. But I haven't really got the most enjoyment out of my music until I was really, genuinely being myself. And that's what I think that was my approach, especially to Feasting Season, just being unapologetically myself. But to get back to the question, yeah, I played quarterback. High school, I was backup quarterback. My main position, I was a defensive back. I played corner and safety. So I had a nice little arm. Like I said, I played baseball as well. Baseball was my main sport. I was real good. I was a center fielder. So I always had a nice little arm. So that kind of translated over to me playing quarterback in football as well. So
okay, dope. So going back to your youngin' days, you grew up in Cal City. Mom and dad, any siblings? You said you got Perez.
Mm-hmm. I got Perez, that's my little brother. I got an older brother, Brandon. He's 9 years older than me. Perez is 6 years younger than me. Then I have a baby sister, a little sister, she's just now, she's a freshman in college now. So yeah, I have 3 siblings.
Okay, cool, man. So Three siblings, sports guy, go to college, sports management.
Sports communication. So
Communications.
in my mind, I didn't even know what the hell that really meant, but it was like it had something to do with sports. In my mind, I'm thinking I'm gonna be Stephen A. Smith or, at that time Stuart Scott or something. I didn't know. I just knew that, I had decent grades and I love sports, so I guess sports communications it is.
So your friend got a microphone at 15 and you guys start rapping.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember in your first raps, what were you rapping about?
my first rap, bro, I remember because they gonna gun me too. It was we did a song. It was me, my homie Els, and Nick Blacksmith.
Right.
It was called Quest for Love. So it was some lovey-dovey weird.
That was Drake before Drake?
Yeah, it was some fake Drake. It was trash, but it was that was our first joint. Then we started. My homie Els, he had a project he came out with called Overdue. I believe it was Overdue was his first joint. Then we had a couple cuts on there. I think we rapped over that two words. What is that?
Oh, that Kanye.
That Kanye, and we hopped on a couple tracks. So. Talking about all type of just stuff, a bunch of folly, honestly, like looking back at it. But like I said, we were young, doing, what the youngsters do.
Right. Okay. And so your love for music kind of grew from there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Honestly, it really sparked my, want for rapping, like wanting to rap. It was my cousin. I have a cousin named Van Patrick. He played Dedication 2 by Lil Wayne, the mixtape. And that blew my mind. I'm like, oh, Wayne going crazy. Wayne going too crazy. So that's honestly what inspired me. Like, man, I could put, quick little 1-2 together, nice little, because I was just enamored by the wordplay on that joint and like how I felt like it felt like every bar Wayne was saying something that was like, whoa, what do you say? Run that back. Oh, dang. And that was kind of like jolted me to really start the craft, like me really understanding that you could really give somebody an experience with how you're putting your words together. So that's probably what really kicked it off.
Okay. All right, so take me back into high school, because that's when this all started,
Mm-hmm.
music-wise. I do see... And I gotta give you a shout out too, because this hoodie's fire. You got the Ren movement.
Yes, sir.
And so tell me, when and how did that start?
Yeah, shout out Ren, man. It's camo Ren season. If you see me, I'm always wearing the camo Ren joint. But Ren, the movement, want to say probably established 08-ish. So like my junior year in high school. And to keep it a buck, like what really kind of kicked off the whole you dig was, high school, everybody clicking up. Everybody got cliques. Everybody, got their friend groups. And like I said, I was pretty, I was a somewhat popular guy, especially being in sports and doing decent academically. So I was in this little group over here kicking it with these guys. But, I kind of wanted, me and some of my closer friends, we kind of wanted something that we can call our own, especially a few of us that grew up in the word together. It's like, we can't go out Friday night, we can't go out this, but instead of us looking at it as a super negative thing, like, man, we can make it cool, we can do our own thing, man. We ain't gotta have to kick it with these guys. Of course, it's like I said, nothing but love with everybody, but we can kind of get our own thing popping. So that's kind of where it kind of grew from. And honestly, it wasn't really a music thing. Of course, we all had a common love for music, but it was really, like I said, just a friend group, just us, putting our little clique together. Us, we kicking it all the time anyway. And then me and my homie Els, my homie AJ, Nehemiah, Nick, we started brainstorming different ideas, and we landed on Ren, Respect the Educated Nation, which also is short for Renaissance. That was around the time Nas came out with that Hip Hop is Dead album, and we was like, shoot, and we the Renaissance, like we we the rebirth of the, you dig. So that's kind of, a high level of how it kind of came about.
Okay. Man, that was a clip, by the way. We're gonna clip that. That was fire, man. But all right. So you got Ren going on. We talked a little bit about reap what you sow. Now that brings up for me a question, or two questions. One on layover to Dallas, the first part.
Mm-hmm.
That first verse, you kind of talking about an experience with someone or some people
mm-hmm.
where they're not showing love. You
right.
know, you even mentioned like stabbing you in the back, and
mm-hmm.
so I think it'd be good if you could expand a little bit about that situation, if it's a real situation,
mm-hmm.
Obviously without names or anything, but just sharing a little bit about how you maintain your nothing but love stance
mm-hmm.
when that's going on in your life.
Yeah, layover to Dallas. Those were some real moments for me, and really like with a lot of my music, it'd be kind of funny, like it'd be multifaceted, so it'd be like I'm pulling from different experiences. So a lot of times, it's not even just about one isolated situation. You get what I'm saying? So I might have a bar here about this situation, a bar here about that situation, but the gist around that time, it was a lot of stuff going on, man. And then actually going back to reap what you sow, it's like I come to realize that God put you through things to make you stronger. Like, or you can, you can fold and allow those things to have you act in a way that, he doesn't want you to act in. So I realize, man, you got to try to take the situations as they come and allow them, if it's what quote unquote appears to be a negative situation, take that energy and try to make a positive out of it and try to allow it to strengthen you. But yeah, at that time, man, it was a lot of stuff going on, bro.
Is there a story you can share with us?
Specifically, just a lot. Like I said, when you're dealing with a bunch of brothers, situations come up, and like I said, even in that regard, multiple things was going on. A gang of different stuff was going on. And I really don't want to elaborate too much on what specifics, but just know it was a lot of stuff, and it was really bro, had me honestly in a bad spot, in a bad space mentally. And even like I said, this stuff wasn't too long ago, and it had me like, man, like even you hearing some of the songs like brother stabbing each other in the back, had me looking at everybody sideways. But what I grow to realize is, man, you gotta allow the Lord to just handle that stuff, bro. You gotta allow what you don't see, God see, and you can't try to play mind reader, and you can't really try to play judge in situations as well. You don't know all sides of the story. You're not there when everything is happening. You're seeing things from your point of view. So, yeah, in regards to those situations, bro, I ain't gonna get into super details, but yeah, just know.
Yeah. So I guess the takeaway though would be, how do you stay grounded in the situation? Because, like, for example, on which song is it now? And on that Trust,
mm-hmm.
you got a line
Mm-hmm.
where you say you got some niggas in the city. So how do you maintain your posture when you know it's just a phone call away?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody, the flesh is weak.
Yes.
So when you get into that, what source? What do you pull on? We know the source,
right?
But how do you pull on that even in your weakest moments?
Man, it's hard, bro. Like, and I ain't gonna lie and act like Muggs to master that journey. I feel like this journey is like, it's a journey of you trying to figure out how to handle situations, and I feel like that's why God put you through situations. If you never been through something, how are you gonna ever know how to navigate it? So, honestly, bro, just trying to, like I said, fall back on some of those tenets of the book, fall back on some of me myself. I never been a confrontational guy, never in my life. I've always been, I don't know if it's the middle child in me, like always trying to play mediator, always trying to calm the situations down. So it's really, honestly, it's kind of a natural thing for me. But mugs will get you to that point in which you to that level, but it gets to the point in which are you going to put yourself, like the book say, he said, be angry but sin not, so you got to make sure that you're still walking in line with the Lord, because you want to, and it also says vengeance is of the Lord's, so you don't want to always try to take vengeance in your hand, but that don't mean it is always an easy thing to do. Like I said, I do got brothers in the city that make a quick trip and things of that nature, but do I need to do that? That's what one thing about the music feast and season. Like I said, I was being very transparent. I went through those emotions, right? I went through, wanting to, do things that I shouldn't have done. But that's just the thought process. Sometimes, like you said, the flesh is weak. Maybe you might fall and you might mess up, but you better get back up and dust yourself off and try your best not to do it again. So that's really, was really my mentality, especially when I was writing those bars. It's like, man, they pushed me to the limit, but you don't want to cross that line, because now you might have felt like you solved this issue, but now you got the Lord on your head, and He gonna be able to do you way dirtier than any flesh and blood man or woman can do. So you got to always keep that in mind.
That's really good too, because I think a lot of times people have an impression of brothers in the truth where they think, okay, you done got holy, sanctified, and now you're keeping the law, and and they think that the flesh just disappears.
Right.
But it's a real battle. In fact, I think I'd venture off to say it's even more of a battle, because now you actually realize you're fighting. So I think it's important that you put that in there. In this project, you actually, to your point, man, you touched on you got real vulnerable and touched on a lot of really important topics that people really need to confront. You talked about fear, lust, you talked about trust, and I think with lust, you talked about it from an interesting perspective. You talked about it from Shorty on You, right? Because a lot of times, especially in the world and the media, men seem to be the thirstier ones, but women out here setting a lot of thirst traps. Now, as a young, successful rapper, right? That comes with its own set of challenges, and you already mentioned. I don't know if you mentioned here in the interview, but definitely on record. You're married, you got a family. So, what advice do you have for young men who are now taking on some of that challenge of trying to avoid these thirst traps, because the internet is a wicked place right now?
Man, that's a great question, bro. That's a real great question. Honestly, bro, once again, it all falls back to not wanting to, disrespect yourself and disrespect the Lord, man. Like, and that's why it's so important for you to understand what God requires of you. Once you understand what He requires of you, then you can move accordingly. But man, you really just don't want to sacrifice, bro. You don't want to sacrifice a lifetime of headache for, just some temporary, lust or temporary enjoyment, right? And you can look at that in all aspects of life. So, yeah, bro, that's my main advice to the shorties, man. Life is gonna keep going, if God don't check you out. Life is gonna keep going. So, and moments and life changes. So, don't put yourself in a jam over something that's going to eventually change anyway. And you want to try to set your life up, for as much success as possible.
Yeah. So, any additional advice you got for shorties?
Yeah, bro. And the last thing I just wanted to say was, when you're a shorty, it's hard to see afar off. Like, you're just in the moment, and you're, of course, hormones be flaring, things of that nature. But understand that once you are under the guise of doing things the right way, like if you wait until marriage to actually partake in what married folks do, I can't stress it, like your peace of mind is way more valuable than getting a little bit of pleasure in that time, bro. So like I said, like right now I have a wife, and now me and my wife, we love each other, and now we know that even if a baby comes about, whatever, we are under that umbrella, and we don't have to really stress about too much of nothing. So just wait on who the Lord has for you, man. And there's tons of stuff to do in the meantime, in between time, especially as a shorty. You trying to set your life up. You don't want to be partaking in risky behavior that's going to set you back years. Life is too short to be setting yourself back.
Facts.
So why not just, set yourself up for as much success as possible? Or I'm trying to, become a professional athlete. Why am I gonna go and, eat a bunch of terrible food? You're not gonna really get to where you want to get to. You have to set yourself up for success. Just point blank, period.
No, that makes a lot of sense, man, and that's another thing that makes this feast of season project so important, man. You actually addressed this very topic on at 2 a.m. What is it? 2 a.m. Jerry
Munda
I couldn't pronounce it, but yeah, on that project there, real quick, you have a snippet about just and an apology
mm-hmm.
for doing people wrong in the past. So this isn't unlived advice,
right?
And I can appreciate that.
100%.
Word. All right, so I just got a couple more questions, man. I want to switch it up a little bit, and we live in a world where we're constantly enticed by the bag.
Yes.
We're constantly, and even the Bible tells us money has its place and it's important.
Yes.
On Prideful, you talk about you just made an investment and then you did it again like you ain't learning your lesson. So can we talk a little bit about investments and just what is important to you when you're evaluating a situation you're gonna get into?
Man, really, bro, that's the whole thing. Like, I never, like, money is cool, bro. Money is cool, but I always looked at it as a tool to try to, a means to get other stuff accomplished. And now at this point in my life, I understand ain't nothing more important than to get the Lord's business done. So whatever I'm doing, if the Lord did bless me with some money or whatever the case may be, I'm looking and trying to flip it into, once again, trying to pour into somebody else, or, try to help, or whether it's even, building up my household, because the Lord tells me that I need to be a provider for my household. But everything I'm doing, I'm trying to, allow it to be done for God's will. Like I said, even, me even being a provider for my household, it's cool being a provider for your household. That's cool. You want to pat yourself on the back, but even more important than that, God commands you to do that. So therefore, I need to get out here and get it. Specifically in that regard, on Prideful, talking about the investments, really, bro, just investing in really what I got going on with the music, like you said, with the clothing brand. Just purchased a vinyl cutter and the stuff you need to keep that going. So yeah, but like I said, once again, even the clothing brand is to just spread awareness, about what we got going on. And really, like I said, what I got going on is trying to do the Lord's bidding. So that's pretty much what it is. But on the flip side, I do see, that money consumes people, bro. That's why it talks about in the book that the love of money is the root of all evil. And it's not money is the root of all evil. It's the love of money. You get so enamored by, and once again, it kind of goes back to our last point about the lust and the sex. Everything, God doesn't do anything in vain. Everything should have a reason to why you're doing it. If you are partaking in, sex and things of that nature, why are you doing it? Are you doing it just to fulfill the lust of the flesh? You know what I'm saying? Or are you going to wait until marriage and now you're doing it under the guise of that? Same thing when it comes to money. Are you just chasing the bag just to chase it because you want to look nice or whatever? Or are you doing it because, you want to be a provider as a man, or you want to, take care of yourself and take care of your household and take care of the people around you, right? It's all about why are you doing certain things, bro.
So the intention behind it all.
Yes.
Okay. Nah, I dig that. I think it's important because people need to recognize that while getting money is a means to an end, it's not the end.
It's not the end. Then we need to also understand, man, the Lord's in control of that stuff, bro. Like I remember back in the day, I'm hustling, bustling. I've got 3 jobs. You know what I'm saying? I'm going, I'm trying to get it. I'm hustling on the side, doing stuff. But then I realized, why I don't never got no money though? Like I got money, it was just here, but then my tire blew or this to happen, medical bills or whatever the case. Now it always just seems to be fleeting, and I don't have it. But I also, on the flip side, realistically, one job it shouldn't be. It's not really paying me that much, but somehow, I'm in a much better predicament. So we need to understand, man. If you please in the Lord, bro, he's the ultimate provider. He can provide a lot better than you can. So how about us? Instead of us trying to be providers for ourselves, we just be servants of God and let him give us our payday. You feel me? And that's kind of the approach that I have. Look, I'm not even wrapped up too much in trying to chase the bag or try to get as much money as possible. Look, I'm gonna put my head down. I'm gonna be the lowly of the lowly, try to look out for people, and I'll let God who provides for us every day. He puts the sun up in the sky every day. He makes it rain on the dry land. You feel? I'll rather get my paycheck from him. You feel me? So
Well, you bring up an interesting point too, because at the end of the day, it's either you're investing in the kingdom or you're investing in your damnation.
yes,
And so that brings me to an interesting pivot. We got Schoolhouse Rap coming up.
yes, sir.
And that's an opportunity for people to support a lot of the work that's being done for the youth in the kingdom. Talk a little bit about Schoolhouse Rap, because this is not the first. This is the third.
Yeah, it's the third
version, yeah.
annual Schoolhouse Rap. It's Sunday, December 11th. It's starts at 5. It goes from 5 to 8 here at Israel School of Excellence. And what it is it's a fundraiser for the school here. We have a Israel ran school, right? We have a pretty much a black owned school, for a lack of better words, and just trying to do, like I said, just trying to do my job, trying to do my part, and trying to just trying to help in any way that I can and utilize my talents to once again pass it on to the next generation. So all Schoolhouse Rap is it's a music showcase. We have a few artists. It's our third time doing it. Lord willing, it to be bigger and better than the years past. And all the funds, all the proceeds is going to go to Israel School of Excellence and the students here, trying to get better things for the students here. Trying to really build the school up. So um, we have several different fundraisers that we do throughout the year. We had the basketball event that we had earlier this year. We also have the New Year's ball, and once again, just the whole idea behind it is not for us to try to put money in our pocket, but trying to just continue to try to pour into the next generation. So that's what it's all about, bro.
Yeah, man. And honestly, that Schoolhouse Rap, I was there last year, and it was one of the most eye-opening events I've ever been to, because you see an opportunity for people who have a strong faith to showcase that faith musically, and the spirit that's in that music jumps into the listener.
Yes, sir.
And you see the kids, and you see young adults, and you see people now singing songs that are just as dope as the ones they hear on the radio, if not doper, but filled with the word, filled with the spirit.
Yes, sir.
And man, I pray that that catches fire, because that's really what our community needs right now, is just another look at what's valuable in real life. So yeah, man, definitely support that mission. We got to do that.
Yes, sir.
Just a couple more questions for you, man. This project was dense. It was an easy listen. It was dense enough to have to pay attention, but easy enough to keep like playing it over and over.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
so you
right.
did a good job with that. The 12 tracks, represent in my mind, at least, the 12 tribes of Israel.
100%.
12 is enough, right?
Yes,
12 is
that's
enough.
perfect number. That's
Yeah.
the bounds of the Lord, man.
And so in principalities, you talk. There's a line in that track that really stuck out to me, man. It reminded me a lot of well, you talked about wrestling with reality, and we're in an interesting time right now in America and across the world, where reality is becoming it's being pushed to the forefront. You know, the world is having to deal with the reality that's been hidden from so many for so long, and they're not liking it.
Right.
They're not liking it. So my question to you on that is how do you hold firm in your faith when the world is now on full attack telling you that you are wrong? Even people who look like you, even people who probably grew up with you, you know, the world is constantly telling you that the thing that you believe in, the thing that you know to be true, is a cult or a whole lie or
Right.
something else.
Right.
Yeah, how do you wrestle with that reality?
I mean, all praises to God. Like that's the remarkable thing about it all is God already forewarns you that like that's what's it's gonna be. Like he tells you that it's gonna be people that's calling good evil and evil good. Like that's in the book. It doesn't have to be in the book, but it's in there. And he is in there as a warning for you because he understands, look, people are not going to they're not gonna want to take heed. You know, the world is on a different type of time than God. That's just what it is. And God is letting you know, look, this is what it is. People are not going to want to do what I'm asking y'all to do. But if you're going to be a true servant of mine, you got to still stand on that, right? And that's something that, I've done, or at least try to do, you know, my whole life. And even like how the books say, train up a child in the way that they should go and they should not depart. That's been something that's been instilled in me since a jit, since a shorty. Like, like I said, I was great at sports. I was pretty good at sports, but I'm not playing on the Sabbath day, and that's something that my parents, instilled in me. I'm not doing just anything on the Sabbath. I'm not gonna disrespect, the Lord. It's Christmas time. Everybody doing the little coloring sheets with the Christmas tree. No, we're gonna have a different assignment for my son. So it's always been instilled in me. So now it's like, it just is what it is, bro. Like,
Man.
and it's like, I count it all an honor to be able to stand on business for the Lord. And then the Lord, I mean, Jesus, he's the ultimate example, of it. He didn't just die, like mugs killed him. You feel me? And they killed him because he was going, he was teaching things that the world didn't want to hear at the time. So I just look at that example and try to trying to walk in the same light. So that's what being a Christian is all about.
And that line really reminds me of when our forefather wrestled with God,
Mm-hmm.
and what we heard at the end, what we could read at the end of that is, now your name is now Israel
Yeah,
because you have power with man and God.
that's
So
right.
that wrestling that we're doing with reality, to which a point you made earlier is, God puts us through things to strengthen us.
Yes.
So now we have strength with man and God. So
Yes,
we
sir.
we got to continue that fight, man, and
Mm-hmm.
it's only gonna get hotter.
Yes,
It's
sir.
only
Yes.
gonna get hotter.
You can't stand the heat. You got to get out the kitchen,
It's
man.
feasting season.
It is indeed feasting season.
Man, I got two more questions for you, man. One more question actually about off of consistent. Um,
Shout
yeah,
out my boy Bo, Average
yeah,
Bo.
man.
Yes, sir.
To kind of tie in the last answer you gave about how you maintain that posture,
Mm-hmm.
being consistent in these laws helps you to sort of see that.
Yes.
And in that particular song, you mentioned staying sober.
Mm-hmm.
How important is sobriety in all of its forms
Mm-hmm.
to your walk?
Yeah, you want to be able to look at things with the right mindset. Like you said, even said in regards to consistency, you know, if you're being consistent with doing what the Lord is asking you to do, you start to recognize patterns. You start recognizing, oh, if I do this, I even one of my homies, Fame, Paul Moosey, he even said that he said something to me a while ago. He's like, man, bro, he's younger. He was like, man, why didn't y'all tell me, you know, such the importance? And he was joking around, of course, but even something as simple as paying tithes, because now, he's been doing it. Now he's grown, and he's doing it on a consistent basis, and he's now able to peep the benefits of it. He's not telling us to do stuff that's going to harm us. He's telling us to do stuff that's going to actually, you know,
do us good.
I gotta do it, man. Ha ha ha. God's not mocked.
You is exactly like Rezo said, but that's the thing. People think that they got one over on the Lord, and it's like, come on, man. Like he's the Ancient of Days. He's been here, bro. Like you might think that you joke and people joke around. Oh, got it. Okay, like you might want to better keep that same energy when it's flipped on its head. So yeah, bro, gotta stay consistent, bro, in everything that you do.
Yeah. It sounds like the fruits of the spirit are definitely all up in this feast. And I gotta give you your flowers, and I know you're gonna give them right back to the Lord, man. But you did a great job on this project. I know the Schoolhouse Rap is gonna be an incredible event. I pray that people support, and I know God's gonna provide. My last question for you before we get up out of here. We gotta go back to Dallas, and first and foremost, we gotta figure out how we get you more layovers there. We gotta just make sure planes don't take off on time in Dallas, because I don't know what's going on in that airport, but the vibes is right in Dallas.
I already got part 3 and part 4 written. It's already in
So
the tuck.
we basically need to get you a sleeping bag in Dallas, so you can stay out there. But on part 2, you talk about, and this I thought was really powerful, because when we talk about music, you often hear people say they were inspired by XYZ. And we look at the etymology and the definitions of inspired. That's something entering you and changing the way you think. And what I really liked about what you said on this track is you let the spirit speak on beats.
Yeah.
So I want to just kind of wrap this up with a glimpse into your process when you're about to sit down, or when you get a thought for a song. What's your process like, and how does that formulate to the music we hear?
Yeah, really just whatever is around me, that's kind of where I try to take it. So like you said, even like the layover in Dallas, or even like Jerry Munda, the backstory behind Jerry Munda Field is that was my high school baseball field. And what I used to do sometimes after school or whatever, even when I became grown, I sometimes go out there super late at night and just be out sitting out there thinking. So just taking inspiration, all that stuff. Of course, the ultimate inspiration is the Lord, but just like I said, just the process of it all is kind of, it's kind of however the Lord takes it, and it's just really just praise God that I've been, trying my hardest to walk with the Lord. So, the stuff that's been going on around me is stuff pertaining to the Lord. So that's coming through in the music, and it's that, and it's also the instrumental, the music itself. The music itself kind of takes me and shows me what type of vibe I want to take with the words and whatnot. So it's kind of a pairing of that. The music kind of first initially gives me kind of how I want to take it, the environment around me, and of course just my life in general. And just so happened that my life right now, and Lord willing, just continues to be rooted and really based in the Lord. So that kind of just peeps through my music. I always, I always looked at like, oh, gospel rap, and they like, you look at it as kind of corny. So to me, even with me right now, I don't even look at me as like a truth rapper or gospel rapper. It's truth, because I'm trying to be as truthful and honest about my life. Like you even said, just even things, wrestling with reality or talking about lust. These are things, or dealing with anger and not trying to snap off. Yeah, those are all things that's in the Bible, but it's also things that's literally happening in my life, and I'm just expounding on it. So that's what it's really all about, bro. In regards to my process, it happens, a lot of different ways. Really, the main way though, like I can't write a song really without the music. Once I hear the music, it kind of gets me, okay, this is kind of how I want to go with it, and then what's around me, it kind of goes from there. You feel me?
All right, bet, man. I know you've been working. I know we got a lot of Lord willing, we got a lot of good music coming up.
Yes, sir.
Any projects you want to talk about, or just any collaborations you want to mention before we wrap?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got that Bruise in the Hood. Shout out to the Bruise in the Hood Walls of Jericho. We have a project coming out December 3rd, Civil Disobedience, right? Bruise in the Hood. We actually have a listening party the week before Schoolhouse Rap. So it's kind of us getting ready, getting geared up for Schoolhouse Rap. Bruise in the Hood, they're actually going to be performing at Schoolhouse Rap. So we're dropping a project, Bruise in the Hood, and like I said, it's a collab really with Walls of Jericho, Bruise in the Hood, and Ren on that project. So you'll be able to peep some more verses from me on that. Once again, dropping on pretty much all platforms, I believe, December 3rd. Besides that, after that, man, I'm working on a few things, man. I'm working on a project right now with my homeboy Payday. He's actually on that Accountability Partners track. He got that second verse. Me and him are working on a project right now, Lord willing. Will drop sometime next year. And also I'm working on a collab project as well with this producer, my homeboy Scott Freebase. He's a producer out of Chicago. We're working on a project, Dry Bones in the Valley. You know, that, Lord willing, that's going to be dropping next year. So we're working a lot of stuff, bro. Got a lot of stuff like we was talking about off camera, man, in these notes of mine, man. Just trying to, Lord willing, be able to get it all out, man, if the Lord says the same, bro.
Word. Word. Well, man, thank you so much, man. This was a great interview. I think we got a glimpse into the mind of Low.
Yes, sir.
If anybody, you mentioned the clothing line and getting the dye cutter. If anybody wants to support, how can they get in touch with you or reach out to purchase?
Man, hit me up on the gram, hit me up on Instagram. Muggs and hacked my Instagram, my last one. So my new one is Eli Ben Focused. It's ELI Ben BEEN Focused. The word focused. Look me up on Instagram. Hit me up on there, man. Slide in my DM. I'm gonna get back to you. Right now we're currently building up a website, but right now I'm just kind of taking orders as they come. So just hit me up on there. If you got me on Facebook, you can look me up on Facebook. It's my full government name, Elijah Ben Israel. You can hit me up on there on Messenger, or just however you need to get in contact with me, man. Just hit me up and we'll work out the merch that way. Also, it's gonna be merch there at Schoolhouse Rap as well. So at all our live events, I try to have some type of merchandise on hand. So yeah, just hit me up how you can, man.
Man, say less, man. Well, again, thank you, bro.
All praises, bro, man. Appreciate you, DJ Repent, man. Much love, bro. Really do appreciate you taking the time out, chopping it up with me, bro.
Oh man, always.
We gotta do it again, bro.
For sure. Yeah, I got more questions for you. All right, family.
Yes, sir.
All praise. Number love. All I do is show number love. Number love. All I do is show number love. So number love. Show number love. Yeah. Number love. All I do is show number love. Number love. All I do is show number love. So number love. Love. So number love. Number love, bro, what's good and sis, what's up? Giving out daps and handing out hugs. I don't push, no, I don't shove, don't gotta be tough. Don't gotta be